welcome to my channel. My name is Anya and today's video is the finale for the team project Pam for 2020. I have my basket full of stuff here. I didn't post a November update because I didn't have anything to update on. I hadn't made any progress pretty much, so I decided to just push it until the end of December to see what happens. In the meantime, I've ended up doing a fairly big collection declutter that happened at the end of November. The videos went up in the beginning of December, and I did declutter some items that were in this project, some that have been here for a while for most of them because I wasn't using them, and some were just too old and it was time to let them go. But I have the remaining things here. I'm not going to dig out any of the things that I decluttered, but I am going to talk about what I have left here and then sort of about how I feel about the project, how it's gone. I'm going to start as I always do with my empties, and there's one. I finished the Rimmel Insta Fix and Go setting spray on Christmas Eve. There is like the tiniest bit in here, but it doesn't spray out anymore, so I'm considering it done. This was one I knew I would finish, but I was hoping for more. But something that I have learned this year that I'm definitely going to take with me is that my health is extremely unpredictable, and when that comes to makeup, my goals need to be lower. They need to be much lower than what they have been. I liked this a lot. It was one of my favourites, but I'm not going to repurchase, A, because I have a lot, and B, because Rimmel is not cruelty free, unfortunately. I want to talk about another one that is like this close to being done, literally that close to being done. This is all I have left. It's a couple of millimeters. This is one use. And this month for December, I ended up giving myself a bit of a challenge in terms of red lipstick, which is my favourite lip colour to wear, but one that I don't wear as often as I would like to because I feel like it's a little bit overdressed sometimes just for being at home in my pyjamas. But I am always at home. 70% of the time I am home in my pyjamas, and I have red lipstick still, and if I want to wear it, I'm going to wear it. And this month I have played around with different formulations. Most of them have been the same sort of slightly blue tone red, which is my favourite. And I've been pairing this one, which is the Mekka lip liner in number 9, with all of them because it is a blue toned red. And I have one use left. I did have a little bit more left, but I used this on Christmas Eve. It's currently, I think it's Boxing Day, but I was wearing this on Christmas Eve and I broke it. So I had about 3 times as much. So I had about 2 to 3 uses left, but I broke it. I now have 1 use left, and it's one that I will most likely finish by the end of the year because I think I'm going to wear red lipstick on New Year's Eve. So whether you want to call it done or not, I'm not going to call it done yet, but it was a close one. And I think with everything, I'm just going to pick things up and talk about them as we go. The stick foundations that were added, I can't remember when, last quarter update, so October. From Mekka, the Perfecting Smooth stick foundations, I have Porcelain and Neutral Fair. Haven't used them. I'm going to keep all of these. They're going to go with me into the new year. Some of them are going to go into the project pan with me next year as well. Same with this Maybelline Gigi Hadid lipstick in Austin. Haven't worn it. Charlotte Tilbury Pillow Talk lip liner I'm wearing today. I went for a very mauvey purple eye look with the purple blue highlighter, and I felt like I needed something neutral, slightly mauvey pink, and this does that. I'm definitely going to try and finish this next year. The formulation isn't my favourite, it's a little bit too thick, but I can wear the colour and I like it. So it's been used, I think, twice. I may or may not have had a nude lip liner in here that I did not mention I finished, because I know in the quarter update when I added this, I still had a nude lip liner that I did finish. Can't remember if that's been talked about or not. May or may not have. It was the number 3 from the Mekka range. These 2 products are things I wear together. The Fenty Beauty Match Stix in Amber is a cool toned brown. It's a contour shade for like lighter skin tones. And then I have the Rimmel Insta Duo stick in Light, which has a bronzer which is light and warm, and then a slightly like pearly champagne highlighter. I tend to mix all 3 of them together when I wear them. So I will draw a giant blob, usually of the highlighter first on my hand, taking up like half of my hand's surface. Then I will draw in one of the bronzers and then I will do the other one. Mix them together, pop it on with either my finger or a sponge. I don't love the Fenty one. The colour is just a touch too grey and too dark for me, so I can't really wear it alone, and the Rimmel one is too warm, so mixing them kind of creates a colour that I can wear. but both of them are products I want to get out of my stash because I don't reach for them very often. This year though I did notice that I actually kind of like wearing cream cheek products when I'm wearing my colour corrector. And I have one more bronzer. I have like 7 highlighters, which is a little bit overkill, but I have only got one more bronzer outside of these two. So these are going to be gone next year, I think, and that the other one might also be. So I am kind of a little bit on the lookout for a cream bronzer that is preferably cheap and cruelty free, but I have enjoyed pairing them and I have noticed progress with this bronzer. I've worn off about 1/3 of it over the course of the months that I've been wearing it. I don't really notice a difference with the Fenty one in terms of like length. I didn't weigh any of these, I went by length, so I have them drawn up on paper. I kind of regret that because I think it would have been easier to see with weights for these, but I have used them. I have not totally hated them together, and I am kind of excited to pan both of them in the new year. The Rimmel Lasting Finish Foundation, it's in the shade Ivory. I haven't used this in months. Makeup has been really hard for me the last couple of months because my health has been all over the place. Literally all over the place, and I haven't been able to properly keep up with it. And makeup usually falls to the wayside when that happens because I can't deal with it. And when I do wear makeup, I will go for my powder foundation or just eyeshadow, nothing else. So going through the steps of using a liquid foundation and a powder, which I would have to do with this, I haven't done it. It is one that I definitely want to try and pan next year because it is one of my favourites. It still looks great on my skin, but it requires a little bit more work. I'm thinking to myself a little bit how that would best be done, whether I should squeeze a bit out of this into a tub, mix it with a mixer so that it's already my colour, and then just use it from there until it's empty and sort of mix it in batches every couple of weeks or so. I would probably only mix enough for a couple of uses at a time, but part of why I haven't used this that much is because I have to mix it every time, and sometimes that's literally what stops me. That's what makes it too much work. I will have to figure out what to do with it, but I didn't want to declutter it because I like it a lot and I do want to try and pan it. I just know that it's going to take me a while. My CoverFX Illuminating Primer, I've been loving this. I have fallen in love with illuminating primers this year, wearing them with colour corrector and with the cream cheek products. This is one of the least intense illuminating primers that I have used out of the ones that I've tried. And I like it for that because it's easier to just apply it. I don't have to worry about going overboard, and it does work really well. I know CoverFX is pricey though, so I don't know if this is going to be something I will repurchase, but I have really enjoyed it. The Maybelline Lash Sensational Mascara I have used a handful of times. It's not my favourite for the top lashes because it doesn't hold a curl on me, but I really like what this does to my lower lashes, which is how I'm using it. I also don't really layer this that much on my top lashes, which is something that I know I can get away with a lot of mascaras. I will put a layer of my Tarte mascara on first, and then I will put a layer of the other one on top if I want to use more of it. I haven't done this because my Tarte mascara is getting a little bit thick and clumpy. It's at the end of its life, so I'm going to have to toss that one out soon. And that makes it difficult to layer things on, but I am going to continue using it because I do not hate it, even though it's not going to be something I will repurchase. Barry Matte Me Up Liquid Lipstick in Crush. I was considering wearing this today because it is a pretty colour, but I haven't worn it. So I'm going to keep it because I have tested it. Well, I have technically worn it once because I wanted to see how it looked on me, and I liked it. I liked it a lot. The same with the lip liner. They were worn that one time. They are the exact same colours and I really like them. I have a bunch of pencil things here. The Maybelline Liquid Eyeliner. I like this. It is the Master Precise one. It has a felt tip, which ends up being very thin at the end, which I don't mind. I'm not very good with a liquid liner though, so it's always a bit of a learning curve, and I can get what I want with this, which most of the time is just a thin line along the top lashes. I don't frequently go for wings because they never look as good as I want them to, but I like doing just a thin line on the top lashes to make my lashes look fuller because they have a tendency to be a bit sparse. The Colourpop brow pencil in Arched Auburn, mine is broken. I literally take the spoolie off with it when I take it out. So I know this has very little product in it, but I don't love it. It's definitely one that I will be able to finish because it's a non-retractable one and it's super soft. I prefer my brow pencils to be a little bit more hard. I find them easier to work with that way. And this is one I wanted done, but I haven't really worn it much because my hands haven't cooperated with me. The Rimmel Scandaleyes in Nude I have worn a couple of times. I like it. I'm going to continue using it. Whether I will ever finish it though, we will see in the new year. Mekka lip liner on point in number 5. I haven't worn this in months. It's a very cool toned purple colour and I don't hate it, but it's not a colour that I reach for very frequently, so I just haven't used it. Colourpop Creme Eyeliner in Punch is one of my favourites and ended up in my favourites video this year because I love this so much. It's not done. I am very slow going with eyeliners because I don't use them very frequently because my eyes hate them, but I will eventually finish it, or mostly finish it at least. The Gigi Hadid lip liner in Austin I also haven't finished. I've used it a couple of times. I can't wear that with anything else though, which kind of annoys me because it is so thick. It's very similar in a way to the Charlotte Tilbury lip liner, which is also very thick. It's just even more so, and it annoys me a little bit. My Colourpop Super Shock shadows, so Sundance is a rose gold. I repressed these a couple of months ago because they were getting dry. I did have Pan, I think, in Sundance and in Super Hardcore, which is a light goldy champagne. I've rehit Pan on this one and I'm using this in my inner corner and on the brow bone. And the Super Shock shadows are my favourite eyeshadow formulation, so I do love them. This is Lightning Bug, which is such a pretty sparkly copper. I absolutely adore it. I love them. I wasn't really planning on finishing them, in honesty, but I have really enjoyed playing with them and I'm definitely going to continue using them and loving them. My eye primer is... I don't hate it. It's not the best eye primer for me, I've noticed. I prefer the Mekka one or the Fenty, but I can make it work. What I don't like about it for the most part is that it's iridescent and I don't get why it is. But I pretty much constantly have a window into it. I can see there's still a lot of product in here. It's going to take me months to finish. This is my lip gloss from e.l.f. It's in Rouge Radiance. I don't have a lot left here. I was trying to have this like stand up so you could properly see, but it fell over. I have like that much left. I have really been enjoying a sheer red lipstick sometimes when I don't want to go super red, and this gives me exactly that. It's a tint kind of stainy gel gloss type product. I have no idea what the actual name for it is because it is nowhere on the packaging. I am definitely going to finish this at some point and I do quite like it. The only powder that's left is from Wet n Wild and it's in Warm Light. I was tempted to declutter this because it's too dark for me for the most part, but I've found a way to use it, which is essentially as a finishing powder. When my face is 90% set, I will take this, especially on my like forehead. It looks great on my forehead, just to add a tiny touch of glow. I kind of like it for that, and I'm definitely going to keep using it as that. I'm not sure how long I'm going to keep holding on to this and using it for, because I've been having issues with powder this year and my skin being super dry. But I'm going to keep using it while it's working, and if at some point in the future I decide, yeah, no, I don't want it, I'm going to get rid of it. The Balm Hot Mama blush, I have used a little bit of it. There's no visible progress on this and I didn't expect it to be. It's a pink blush with a gold shimmer shifty thing to it. It's very pretty on the cheeks. Not my favourite blush, which is why I kind of want to try and pan it. And I feel like blush it's just a project that never stops. It keeps going. And even though I am a blush person who tends to wear a lot of blush when I'm wearing blush, this blush is very pigmented, so I can't layer it on like I do with a lot of my other blushes. So I think it's going to be one of those blushes that I'm never going to actually finish, but I like the colour enough to hang on to it and like use it a little bit here and a little bit there to maybe eventually hit pan, or at least make a dent. Highlighter is Makeup Mekka Illuminate Me, which was one I thought I would get rid of at the beginning of the year because it's a gold. And my issue is that it always ends up being a bit too dark, but I have found a way to make this work. I tend to lay this on top of blushes, or just when I have a bit of a tan. It's gorgeous. And through swatching my highlighter collection, I realised I don't actually have anything that is this type of shade of gold, which ends up being a very light white gold. A lot of other golds, they tend to go very dark, which absolutely does not work for me. But this manages to keep a little bit of lightness to it that I can actually make it work most of the time. So another product that I don't think I'm going to ever finish, but maybe I can like flatten the dome or make a dent in the future at some point. I'm going to save my favourite product in terms of progress and stuff to last. Tanya Burr Hollywood Eye Palette. I quite like these. They are very neutral and this is like the perfect palette to base a neutral eye look on for me. I don't really care for a cream shade. I have a dent in mine and I feel like these eyeshadows, especially the mattes, which is the cream and the brown, very easy to make dents in because they are very, very soft. But this is an eye look that is very easy, looks good all the time, and it's definitely one that I think I want to try and hit pan on all shades at some point. And the final item, I almost hit one of my goals on this one. This is the Isadora Face Sculptor in Warm Peach. And one of my goals was to use up the highlighter. And I've repressed the highlighter and the bronzer this year. I repressed it pretty much right after it was introduced in the project. And I have eaten away at the highlighter pan. I don't have all that much left. This highlighter is definitely a highlighter pan I will be able to finish next year, which is exciting. I have not re-hit pan on the blush, on the bronzer, but I have expanded pan on the blush, which is kind of nice. I really like this palette. It works really well for me. It's one that I'm absolutely going to keep using and eventually maybe actually finish. So that was my project pan update. I have been sort of keeping track with numbers of anything that I'm doing this year, especially regarding makeup, counting every project pan item that has left my collection, whether they were finished, went old and expired, or were decluttered. 68 items have left my collection through the project pan. Out of those 68, 33 were fully finished or expired before I could finish them, which I'm also pretty pleased with. My goal with my project this year was to try and finish something in every category, which I knew was a pretty big goal and that was going to be pretty much impossible to do. If I count the things I have decluttered, I do think I managed to have like one item per category at least, but in terms of actually finishing them, no. In the end, I'm pretty happy. I felt a little bit stuck with the project this year because my health is, I keep saying it all the time, but my health is bad. It is bad. I'm chronically ill and I'm disabled. I have very little energy to spend on things, and this year I've also been stressed because of the world, and that makes everything a little bit worse. But I've managed still to enjoy makeup and use up a lot of products. I definitely know for next year though to lower my expectations a bit and potentially also pick less items, because I have been a little bit overwhelmed in certain areas, like with having one lip liner for every lip colour category that I have instead of picking one and focusing on one at a time. I've been a bit overwhelmed with that, but overall, even though I technically didn't finish as many as I hoped, I still managed to get rid of a lot and finish more than I probably thought I would, in honesty. And it's one of those weird moments where I both feel like I didn't finish as many as I wanted, but also am really proud of what I did and think I did well enough. But I really enjoy panning, and some form of a project pan is absolutely going to happen for me next year as well, because even though my makeup collection has shrunk by a lot this year, I still feel like it's a bit too big in certain areas and I want to shrink it a little bit in some of them. So I'm definitely gonna try and figure out something for next year. I don't know how I'm going to do it, because I think for next year I'm gonna have to go down to one video a week on this channel. I tried to this year, and even though I managed it sometimes, I've been very, very stressed and it's been a lot. If everything goes to plan next year, I have a lot of stuff happening health-wise, which are going to be very, very difficult, and there might be some radio silence in the spring or summer, maybe also in the autumn. But I want to just make videos that I want to make and that I enjoy, and we will see what they end up being. If you have done a project pan this year, whether you join in on the team project pan, which was created by Kat and Hayley from Beauty News, or if you did a different one, made your own up, tell me how you did in the comments below. I always love watching project pan videos because there is something so satisfying about, not only for me actually seeing progress happen with my items and finishing them, but also seeing other people's progress and how they are using a project and how they are using certain products. And it does inspire me to want to continue panning, and whenever I feel a bit lost and stuck, I literally put Project Pan makeup into YouTube and I have a blast. It's been fun, it's been an interesting year, and I'm hoping for 2021 to be less chaotic. Thank you so much for watching the video, I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you again soon. Bye!